The European Union just signed its third major trade agreement in 3 months, this time with Australia, cutting American firms out of an estimated $30+ billion in annual trade flows and locking U.S. exporters out of $845 billion worth of government contracts that Australian companies can now bid on. EU Commission President Ursula von der Leyen landed in Canberra Tuesday to finalize a deal that eliminates 98% of tariffs between Europe's 450 million consumers and Australia's resource-rich economy. The US, meanwhile, is watching its trade partners build alternative networks that systematically exclude American access. I'm Elif Houseville on YouTube. I have a PhD in computer science, and I use data analysis to spot patterns in geopolitics and economics. When we dig into the publicly available trade data and line it up with the EU's deal-making timeline in 2026, what's happening jumps out immediately. Europe and its partners are building a post-American trade architecture, and they're moving very fast. March 24, 2026, Australia and the EU concluded negotiations for a comprehensive free trade agreement after 8 years of talks that had collapsed in October 2023 over beef market access and geographic naming disputes. Prime Minister Anthony Albanese and von der Leyen signed the agreement in Canberra, along with a separate security and defense partnership signed March 18th. When fully implemented, 98% of the current value of Australia's exports will enter the EU duty-free, gaining access to $21.1 trillion economy. Here's what most people miss when they read this headline. The EU is Australia's third largest two-way trading partner and second largest source of foreign investment at $869.3 billion in 2024. The US, on the other hand, in 2024, US imports from Australia reached $50.6 billion, while exports to Australia hit $23.8 billion, creating a $26.9 billion trade deficit for Australia and America. The US had been Australia's fifth largest export destination, representing just 5% of Australia's total exports. This deal now channels Australian critical minerals and hydrogen directly to Europe tariff-free. Australian beef, wine, and sheep meat get preferential EU market access. Australian wine producers save $37 million annually from tariff elimination alone. Australian companies, including small and medium-sized enterprises, can now bid on EU government contracts worth approximately $845 billion annually in rail, construction, and infrastructure projects. American firms lose on every axis this time. US beef exporters already compete with Australia. Australian beef to the US topped $4 billion in 2024. Now Australia has preferential European access, while US producers face existing EU barriers. Critical minerals that US tech and defense sector need desperately are now flowing to Europe duty-free under terms American companies don't have. Services trade in financial services, education, tourism, sectors where the US and Australia currently have deep ties, now tilt towards European partnerships instead. If you want to sharpen your ability to spot these trade realignment patterns before they become mainstream narratives, check out my book, Awake: The Practice of Critical Thinking in an Age of Self-Lies. It walks through the frameworks for connecting policy moves across different markets to see the bigger architecture taking shape. It's available in ebook and audiobook. Subscribers get 10% off, and you can read the first chapter for free using the description links. This is the third major trade deal the EU has finalized in 2026. On January 17th, the EU and Mercosur, Argentina, Brazil, Paraguay, Uruguay, signed an agreement creating a free trade zone of 700 million people, eliminating tariffs on 91% of EU exports and 92% of Mercosur exports. The deal saves EU firms over 4 billion euros annually in customs duties. 10 days later, on January 27th, the EU and India concluded negotiations on what von der Leyen called the mother of all deals. We have our separate video on that one, which is a free trade zone of 2 billion people, representing 25% of global GDP and 1/3 of global trade. When we line these three deals up chronologically with Trump administration trade actions, the causation becomes very visible. Negotiations for all three had been stalled for years. EU-Mercosur for over 25 years, EU-India since 2007, EU-Australia since 2018. What changed now? Well, multiple sources cite the exact same trigger. Bloomberg and AP reported the breakthrough came as both the EU and Australia seek to diversify their trading networks and reduce their economic reliance on China and exposure to uncertain US. That was a quote. Atlantic Council analysts noted that while the EU-India deal had been negotiated with pauses for almost 20 years, clearly, Trump provided the immediate impetus to get it done now, so both countries can diversify their trade relationships in response to uncertainty, if not antagonism, from the United States. Another quote there. Von der Leyen warned in speeches that trade was being weaponized and referenced the dangerous transactional nature of current geopolitics, which is what observers called a thinly veiled Trump rebuke, basically. Albanese framed the Australia deal very explicitly. I'm quoting him here. This is both the European Union and Australia asserting that we believe in free and fair trade, that we understand that trade advances the prosperity of both trading entities who are involved. Translation in normal words, the rule-based trading system continues without American participation necessarily. What's really happening under the hood is a systematic reconfiguration of trade flows around American exclusion. The EU isn't just signing bilateral deals, it's building a network ultimately. Von der Leyen noted March 9 that 83% of EU trade already takes place with countries beyond the US, and I'm quoting here, "The world wants to trade with Europe. Our trade network has never expanded so fast." Ongoing negotiations include the Philippines, Thailand, Malaysia, the UAE, and 5 countries in Eastern and Southern Africa. Deals concluded in 2025 include Indonesia, Japan, Mexico, and Switzerland. Just consider the mechanics for a second. American exporters face Trump's reciprocal tariffs, creating uncertainty for partners. Supreme Court rulings invalidating $134 billion in tariff collections, and an Iran war driving oil above $110 per barrel, while the Fed signals possible rate hikes instead of cuts. European exporters face declining tariff barriers, expanding market access, and legal certainty through ratified agreements. Capital flows follow the path of least resistance. The investment implications compound. The EU was Australia's second largest source of foreign investment in 2024, with $869 billion in stock. That capital now has enhanced legal protection and expanded opportunities under the FTA. American investment in Australia, however, is still subject to policy volatility and tariff uncertainty. From what I've seen working with economic systems so far, the pattern here is very clear. Europe is building reserve currency challenger infrastructure through trade network effects. When 83% of EU trade happens outside the US, when India and the EU create a 2 billion person free trade zone, when Australia channels critical minerals to Europe instead of through American supply chains, the dollar's role as the inevitable medium of exchange weakens structurally. We've already covered how Europe and Canada are positioning themselves to challenge US currency dominance. Check that video next for the full mechanism. The short version is essentially trade creates currency demand. As Europe expands its trade network through enforceable agreements, while the US pursues unilateral tariff actions, more transactions settle in euros or through bilateral arrangements that bypass dollar entirely. I would watch for 3 signals over the next 6 months. First, whether the EU-Mercosur deal survives European Parliament ratification after being referred to the EU Court of Justice in January. Approval would add 700 million people to the EU trade network by late 2026. Second, I would watch whether Australia redirects critical minerals exports measurably toward Europe in Q2 and Q3 2026 data, indicating the FTA is reshaping actual trade flows. Third, I would watch whether the US negotiates any comparable market access agreements with major economies. Absence of deals means American firms fall further behind European competitors. If Europe continues this pace, 3 major deals in 3 months, multiple others advancing, and the US remains focused on tariff threats rather than market access agreements, American exporters face structural disadvantage by 2027. European firms have preferential access to markets representing over 3 billion people across South America, Asia, and Australia. American firms face higher barriers in those same markets or rely on the increasingly uncertain USMCA framework with Canada and Mexico. The European Union is also exploring the possibility of deeper integration with Canada and perhaps welcoming it to the European Union. We've covered that in a separate video. Check it out as well. Combined with these trade talks, Europe is building the architecture for a multipolar trade system where American participation is optional rather than central. That is the major shift. Not that the US is excluded from all trade. but that the global trading system can function, expand, and deepen without American involvement or approval. For more context on how desperate the situation is becoming for U.S. economic policy, check out the video on your screen right now about the U.S. Treasury Secretary begging the EU and China for investments into the USA. The contrast couldn't be sharper. Thank you all so much for watching, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.